Hey everybody, I'm Olivia Logan and today I'm going to be presenting you my research project, which is communication between patients and their dietitian. So my abstract included focusing on the relationship between dietitians and their patients, how outside relationships such as family or friends influence patient success, nutrition communication and behaviors in conjunction to how the patient responds to them. And then I also included a research that was done called Diet Comms. It was a study on post-registration dietitians and the style of communication that they use and which one was most effective. So my research question was, does increased interpersonal skill from a dietitian help a patient achieve their peak health? And the hypothesis is increased interpersonal skill will help a patient achieve their peak health. In my lit review, I broke it up into 4 themes that were counseling, word choice, such as emotional or triggering words, as well as the environment, and then I also went into further detail on diet comms. So starting with counseling, the ultimate goal is to improve communication and interpersonal skills in order to help the patient change self-defeating or harming behaviors and habits. Counseling a patient's family as well, depending on age, is very important because 2 to 5 to even young adolescents, they're not the primary buyers of their food, so it's very important to stress that healthy habits start at a young age, which is also a result of how the parent eats and what they purchase for themselves. E-counseling is also offering a new outlook for young patients just because Skyping is relatively new and it makes the patients feel a little bit more comfortable that it's a little bit more up to date with technology, and also patients might be a little bit embarrassed of their state and don't want to meet a dietitian in person. So it's creating a new outlook for care. So word choice, this focused more on emotional or triggering words like value-laden words, such as skinny or slender, fat or obese. Those seem to upset the patient the most, so it's important to avoid those types of words. And a lot of dietitians struggled with bringing up weight, which, weight and health is a sensitive subject for most patients, so the dietitian really has to be cautious about how they present these issues to their patient. Which is why they focus on patient-centered communication, because this way they can evaluate how patients respond to certain words that they say. The environment, eating habits develop from a young age. This can be a result of marketing tactics from the food industry, such as McDonald's does this all the time. So they'll have a skinny or fit man or woman eating fries. And that's a marketing tactic, so it's important to stress to patients that they are eating fries, but they're also not going to look like that in a couple of years if they keep doing that. And then there was also a study done with 4 separate groups and different controls. So there was one group that had a healthy food advertising, one had anti-obesity advertising, unhealthy food advertising, and mixed food advertising, and they put them around the grocery store, and then they had these certain groups go into that section of the grocery store and to see how it affected how they shopped, and it just tested their habits. And so the ones that were in the healthy food, anti-obesity, and mixed food advertising section, the foods that they bought minimized caloric intake and increased overall healthy food choice. So Diet Comms recorded mock interviews by 113 dietetic students and registered dietitians. Using this resource, it's possible to track improvements in dietetic students and continue to train them in areas they need more experience in. So it really helped hone in what style of communication was most effective with those dietitians and their patients. And then my method, I did an experiment as well as a survey. So the types of communications that were found from the Diet Comms research were informational communication, motivational, confrontational, and holistic nutrition communication. So my method would take 4 different dietitians, one focusing on each nutrition communication that was found, and then each will be assigned 5 different patients. There is no age group, there is no relative health group. the way I wanted to track it was through the patient's individual success to what they wanted to become, so their own health journey. And then they would meet with their dietitians at least once a week for 6 months. And the independent variable was the dietitians, the dependent variable was the patient's success. This would be a completely volunteer basis because it is a research method, but there's also the patient caregiver confidentiality form, so they would have to allow us to sit in and track their success. After the 6 months, questionnaires would be administered using the Likert scale, with 1 being strongly disagree, 5 being strongly agree, after the 6-month period, asking each patient about their dietitians and how they felt that their communication style affected their own success. And then it's anticipated that this method will be ideal as it will allow the implementation of different communication styles with people of varying backgrounds and conditions. So because we don't sort of make it like a group, like all middle-aged, this type of weight, with this health, we get all ages of all health, of all backgrounds in this study, and then it will really allow us to hone in on what style of communication was most effective, not just for one age group, but for all of them. And then I really liked doing this research project. I would say the most difficult part of this project was finding the articles, just because there's so many to deduct and get down to just a few. My favorite part was definitely the setup that Crystal had. I think it was extremely easy just to put in all the sections, just because she had it laid out so perfectly. And I'll definitely keep that outline for other classes because that was the most simple and probably the easiest time I had writing a research paper, so I really appreciate how it was set up.